истинный в огне. Кто читает свои сны, поклоняюсь темноте.
The Ice King ruled over his land as a dictator. The people of the snow biome hated him as their ruler. But if anybody tried to do anything that the Ice King did not like, say, or enforce, their punishment would be severe. And so the people grew tired of how the Ice King treated them. And after some thinking, the Ice King's most trusted subjects would plan to assassinate him when he was at his most vulnerable. But they had to come up with a plan on how they would do it. After a few weeks, his subjects had everything planned out, and now they put their plan into action. While the Ice King was sitting on his throne at the top of Polar Peak, his subjects were outside, quietly taking out each guard. After all of the guards had been killed, they snuck into the throne room, and there they confronted him, yelling that his time of rule was over, and that he be prepared to die. He laughed maniacally, telling them that there isn't any feasible way that they could possibly kill him. His subjects had enough, and so all 6 started to attack the Ice King. Again, the Ice King laughed, saying that they were no match for him. His first trusted subject tried to stab him with his sword, but the Ice King just caught the blade with his hand. He then picked his subject up off the ground by the neck with his other hand and snapped his neck. His body dropped to the ground. 2 more subjects, angered by this, started running towards him, but once again the Ice King laughed maniacally and he took out 2 ice swords. The Ice King took the 2 swords and threw them at his 2 subjects running towards him, which sliced them in half, killing them instantly. Now there were 3, and the Ice King told them that they would all die for treason. He then called upon his 2 ice hounds to finish them off. The ice hounds ran towards 2 of his subjects and began tearing at their flesh until they were nothing but a pile of bones and torn apart flesh. Now there was just 1 left. He tried to run, but the doors to the Ice King's throne room were locked. The Ice King called his 2 ice hounds back and began walking towards the only remaining subject. The Ice King picked him up by his throat and threw the subject towards the ground. The Ice King then started to punch the subject repeatedly until he had beaten him to death. The Ice King then walked over and sat on his throne. After a few days, the mess that was left over was cleaned up, and he addressed the people of his kingdom. He told them that if anybody had any ideas or said anything that might sound like treason, their families would be gruesomely killed in front of their eyes, and then they would be killed in an even worse way than that. And from then on, the Ice King ushered in a new era of cruelty, many times worse than the era before. And so, wherever you live, if you have a leader who is cruel and treats people like slaves, you might want to think twice before you do something, or you might have to face the wrath of that person.